Life has an interesting way of surprising us. Sometimes the brightest stars are hidden behind the darkest clouds. One of the greatest minds in human history, Albert Einstein, was once considered a failure in school, yet he grew up to change the world forever. This is his story. Albert Einstein was born in 1879 in the city of Ulm, Germany. From the very beginning, he was different. As a child, Albert spoke very late. His parents even worried that he might never learn to talk properly. When he finally began speaking, he would pause and repeat his sentences softly, as if he was rehearsing them in his head before saying them aloud. Teachers often complained that Albert was slow, distracted, and uninterested in school. He didn't like memorizing facts. He hated strict rules. While other children followed instructions, Albert would sit quietly, lost in his thoughts. One teacher even told him, "You will never amount to anything." Imagine that. The same man who would one day win the Nobel Prize was once seen as a hopeless. Although he struggled in school, young Albert had something rare, a burning curiosity. He wanted to understand the universe. When he was just 5 years old, his father showed him a small compass. Albert noticed how the needle always pointed north, no matter how he turned it. He was fascinated. Something invisible must be making this happen, he thought. That invisible force, magnetism, sparked a lifelong hunger for knowledge. Albert spent hours alone reading books on mathematics and physics. While other children played outside, he was busy solving problems in his head. School didn't inspire him, but his imagination did. As Albert grew older, his problems in school continued. His teachers thought he was lazy. At the age of 15, he dropped out of school altogether. For most people, this would have been the end of their education, but not for Albert. He applied to the Polytechnic School in Zurich, Switzerland. At first, he failed the entrance exam. His grades in languages and other subjects were too low. Once again, failure seemed to follow him, but he didn't give up. Albert studied hard and reapplied. The second time, he passed. After finishing his studies, Einstein hoped to become a professor, but nobody wanted to hire him. Years passed, and he couldn't find a proper job. Finally, with the help of a friend, he found work at a patent office in Switzerland. His job was to review other people's inventions. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave Albert free time, and he used that time wisely. While others saw him as just a clerk, inside his mind, he was exploring the mysteries of the universe. In 1905, at the age of 26, Einstein published 4 revolutionary papers. This year is now known as his Annus Mirabilis, or miracle year. In one paper, he explained the photoelectric effect, showing how light could behave like tiny particles called photons. In another, he introduced the idea of special relativity, revealing that time and space are not absolute. He also gave us the most famous equation in the world, E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. This changed physics forever. The man who once failed in school was now rewriting the laws of the universe. Einstein went on to become a professor, a world-famous scientist, and in 1921, he won the Nobel Prize in physics. People all over the world admired him, not only for his genius, but also for his humility. But Einstein never forgot his struggles. He often said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world." Albert Einstein's life teaches us something powerful. Failure is not the end. It is only a beginning. Just because someone struggles in school or doesn't fit into the system doesn't mean they are worthless. True genius lies in curiosity, passion, and persistence. Today, Einstein's name is a synonym for brilliance. But behind the fame was a boy who was once considered too slow for school. His journey reminds us never to give up, never to stop asking questions, and never to lose our imagination. So the next time someone calls you a failure, remember Albert Einstein, a boy who failed in school yet became one of the greatest scientists in history. His story proves that the world's most extraordinary minds often come from the most unexpected places. Albert Einstein's journey did not end with his scientific discoveries. His life after fame was filled with struggles, choices, and lessons that shaped not only science, but also the destiny of nations. By the early 1920s, Einstein had become a celebrity. Newspapers called him the new Copernicus. When he traveled to other countries, thousands of people gathered just to see him. His theory of relativity had made him a star. But Einstein remained a simple man. He wore old clothes, rarely combed his hair, and often forgot to wear socks. Fame never changed his personality. He lived modestly and believed that a person's value came not from wealth or power, but from character. In the 1930s, as Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany, life became dangerous for Jewish people. Einstein, being Jewish, was targeted. His books were burned, and his name was put on a list of enemies of the state. Einstein realized he could no longer live in Germany. He left for the United States and took a position at Princeton University. From then on, America became his new home. As World War II began, Einstein learned that German scientists might be working on a powerful new weapon, the atomic bomb. Fearing what Hitler might do, Einstein signed a letter to the US President Franklin Roosevelt. That letter urged America to begin research on nuclear weapons. Later, when the bomb was actually built and dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Einstein was heartbroken. He never worked directly on the Manhattan Project, but he felt guilty that his name had been connected to such destruction. He spent the rest of his life speaking against war and nuclear weapons. In his later years, Einstein became more of a philosopher and humanitarian. He spoke out for world peace, civil rights, and freedom. He said, "Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding." Even though governments respected him, Einstein never wanted to be a politician. He wanted to remain a teacher, a thinker, and above all, a seeker of truth. Einstein continued teaching and writing until his last days. In 1955, at the age of 76, he passed away in Princeton. His brain was secretly preserved for study, as scientists wanted to understand the source of his genius. But perhaps his true genius was not in his brain structure. It was in his vision, his courage to dream differently. Today, Albert Einstein is remembered not just as a scientist, but as a symbol of curiosity, creativity, and humanity. He taught us that failure is not final, that imagination is limitless, and that science must always serve humanity, not destroy it. Albert Einstein's life was a journey from rejection to revolution, from failure to fame. He was a man who looked at the stars and taught us that time and space themselves could bend. But perhaps his greatest lesson for us all is this: to keep asking questions, to never stop imagining, and to remember that even a child who failed in school can one day change the universe.